the first step to wheel throwing is centering. And I think it's one of the most important things because if your pot doesn't start out centered, it's never going to be centered. Your whole pot's going to be wonky the whole entire time through. So I like to spend a little bit of time working on this, learning it, really learning it, feeling comfortable with it. And that is going to make all of your pots more successful as you start to wheel throw. So first thing with centering is body positioning. So you want to make sure you're the closest you can get to the wheel. So your legs should be wrapped around the splash pan, pull yourself closer. You also need to lock your elbow into your hip. That's why we want to be so close, so that we're close enough that we can lock this in and still reach our clay. The reason we lock it in is because this is our boss hand. If this hand wiggles at all, then the pot is never going to center. So this is my left hand because I am right-handed. If you are left-handed, you will lock in your right hand, but your wheel will be moving the opposite way. So right now the wheel is moving counterclockwise. It is set up for people who are right-handed. So I'm gonna lock in my left elbow, and this is gonna be my side pressure. So when you are centering, you need side pressure and you need top pressure. So I'm gonna throw my clay on here so that I can show you what I mean. What you should do, use a wet sponge and just lay it down in the middle, and it will create this little circle for you. The reason I do that is that so you have a kind of target to hit with your clay, so you can try to get it as centered as possible right off the get-go, just starting off right towards the middle. I'm gonna take my clay, I'm using a little bit over a pound, and I'm gonna throw it down right there on that circle that I made. Give it a couple pats, make sure it's nice and stuck on there. Now when we start centering, your wheel is gonna be going as fast as it can go. I know it's a little scary, but I promise it does actually help. And you're gonna need a good bit of water. So because the wheel is moving so fast, it's creating a lot of friction. And if you don't have any water, it's gonna create heat and your hands are gonna get hot. It doesn't necessarily hurt you, just doesn't feel super great. So make sure you have some water. If you're feeling it get a little hot, just grab some more water, pop it on there. Make sure your wheel is going as fast as it can go. We're gonna lock our elbow into our hip. And for our top pressure, I'm gonna take my right hand and grab my left thumb. So it looks something like this. Now, I don't want you to keep it hovering up there. You're gonna rotate your fist down until it touches the top of that clay. When you start to center, it is good to apply a little bit more top pressure at first to really stick down your clay. So I'm gonna go in there with more top pressure, make sure it's really stuck down. And now I'm gonna come in with my side pressure. So I'm pushing this way with my left hand and pushing down with my right hand. Make sure your wheel is going as fast as it can go. Now we have to do something called wheel wedging or coning. So right now, the particles of clay in there are kind of bunched up. So what we need to do is pull the clay up and throw it back down so it aligns all of those particles and molecules nice and neatly together. So to do that, you're going to pull your fingertips towards your palm, and your palms are pushing towards your fingertips to get this kind of shape. But as you do it, you are rotating your pressure up your fingers. So at the very bottom, I start with my pinky, move to my ring finger, middle finger, up to my pinky finger. As I do this, my hands are moving up the clay. Now, it is important that you don't actually lift this off because this whole back can come off and it can go flying. You are still applying just pressure this way, but your hands are just gradually moving up the clay. I'll show you what I mean. So I'm starting at the bottom, I have pressure on my pinkies. It is now moved to my ring finger, middle finger, and my pointer finger. And as I did that, I moved my hands up, but I'm still only applying that pressure going this way. Once I've got it shot up into the air, I'm gonna use the meaty parts of my thumbs, just sit them on top, make sure your arms are still tucked into your body, because if not, you can kind of get wiggly. Arms are tucked into my body, and I push straight down. You're gonna do that one more time. So I'm rotating that pressure, starting at the bottom. And as I do it, I'm moving my hands up. I'm not lifting, I'm just moving them up. I'm gonna press it back down. And then I'm gonna go back into my centering. So if this arm is not really locked in, sorry, my bat's a little loud. If this arm's really not locked in, my left hand, and I just let it wiggle like this thing is never gonna center. It is always just gonna wiggle, it's gonna get out of control really fast. But as soon as I lock this arm up and start pushing forward, you can see that the clay starts to settle down. This is your boss arm. You really, really gotta push forward and really make sure that you lock this arm in. The top pressure is important, but that side pressure is the most important part. Top pressure is just to make sure that it stays stuck down, but that side pressure, nice and consistent, really locked in, using our body weight to kind of help us push our arm forward to lock it in, is really what's gonna be what centers this piece. Now we have a nice centered piece. When you come off of a centered piece, and it's nice and centered, don't move your hands too fast because it can throw it off centered like that. What you want to do is come off of it nice and slowly. Just really nice and slowly, okay? Nice and slowly away from it. So now we have a centered piece, so we are going to move on to how to throw a cylinder in the next video.